when the state of Arizona called out their own National Guard and brought them down to the river, and they were going to fight California over the water in the Colorado River.
Yeah.
Very interesting story. You'll have to check that out sometime. You probably knew about that, though.
Yeah, well, I mean...
You were just a little girl at the time. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I mean, you know, there are 7 states, as you had a teaser there, 7 states that depend on the Colorado River, which the Colorado River is not actually that big of a river in the grand scheme of things, not like the Mississippi or anything. So the 7 states are actually all vying for that water, because we are able to move water from place to place, it's made a lot of places hospitable to live. So now we're able to grow, veggies and whatnot in Arizona. It's a desert. So how do they get their water? They're getting that water from the Colorado River. And it's not a secret that, they've had issues over the water rights there for decades. But nobody has thought far enough ahead and say, hey, what are we going to do? How are we going to combat this issue? Because obviously the people are going to have to drink water and need water. That's just obviously a thing. But the politicians, they say we have to go into mass conservation, which, you can conserve water, which is fine. That's not going to do the trick. But one of their platforms is they'd like to just shut off all the ranchers in these 7 states. So where are we going to get our food from? We're going to get it from Mexico, which, I mean, is that is that a first world country, a third world country? I mean, this is what they're doing. This is just like NAFTA.
Now, let me tell you something real quick, listener. In Kimberly's report, talking about cutting off the ranchers, you say that 75 to 80% of the Colorado River water is used for agriculture.
Yeah.
Not for, riding in your boat or whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Or drinking water? Yes.
Yeah, it is. And so, so it's not a stretch to know that over the last, since the original pack was put together in 1922. So not a big stretch to think that, there's going to be more people that live in the area than normal. And as we are having most of Central America and Mexico reside in this country now, they all need places to live. They all need places to work. They need places where they're going to go to school. This puts a lot more burden on this tiny little water source. So looking ahead, and this is just a blonde looking ahead, saying maybe we could do something like this. Yesterday, if you watched the national news, there's all kinds of flooding and storms back here on the East Coast. We've got, I can't remember, it's like 2.6 million miles of pipeline under the ground that's moving our gas all throughout the country. We know what happened with the Colonial getting hacked into. So we know that safely transmitting this. So I'm just saying, look, the Mississippi River is always good, at least a couple times a year, to flood and take out homes. They have so much water back here, they don't know what to do with it. Maybe they could put one of these underground pipelines like they do with the fuel, the gas, natural gas, and pump the water from the east to the west. And then as you go into each state that passes through, you get revenues created from the water going from east to west for these states to make up for it. Maybe that might be a shovel-ready project that they could look into, because I'm fairly certain all of these large corporations who have these pipelines underground have blueprints somewhere that say, hey, this is how you build a pipeline. And obviously moving water would be a heck of a lot easier than moving fuel, because now you don't have to worry about the contaminants and the EPA and all of the other agencies that go along with the safety and security of these pipelines that are already there underground. So they don't even have to come up with a whole new plan. They can just go out and see, oh, this is how you build it. Okay. Easy, and just get on with it and spend the money there. That's a shovel-ready project.
And you mentioned underground, right?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you an interesting thing here. Well, number one, I have very strong connections because I went to high school in the city that was determined to be the natural gas capital of the world. But anyway, and that's why I know little things like this. When you leave Needles, California, and you're going east, when you cross the Colorado River,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
there's a big pipeline that goes across the river. That's the pipeline that goes all the way from West Texas, New Mexico, all the way through Arizona to California. That was going down to the, the piers in Long Beach, I guess, or San Diego.
Yeah.
But it doesn't all have to be underground.
No,
That's
it
what
doesn't.
I'm saying.
But yeah, I mean, but
Some people say, well, you can't go all the way underground. There's highways and there's rivers and there's buildings. Don't worry about it. They've got it figured out.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
There are a number of things. Obviously, California, 2 years ago when they had the, storm of the century for 2 years, that all the water goes out to the ocean, they could have built reservoirs. They could have, actually invested in desalination plants. Now, the politicians are fond, they'd like to build plants to go through wastewater, which really doesn't sound all that appetizing, I think, for most people about going in and doing that. That's their solution. But if they were thinking ahead, then they could have had this water ready to go when they needed it. But they refuse, year in and year out, they refuse. I've been talking about this for years, that they need to build reservoirs. They need to be better stewards of the water. They need to get the EPA and all the other agencies off the back of California's coastline and build desalination plants. That's how Australia kind of stays afloat, so to speak. And when you put all of these things together, it's going to take the pressure off this little lowly Colorado River, and that they like to see all the water going out to the ocean. And we have fun with the Delta smelt all the time. But I mean, these are easy. In my mind, these are easy solutions. And there are a lot of smart people out there. There's some architects out there. There are people that have put together these pipelines. Why can they not take the water that's sitting out here and flooding homes and year in and year out here on the East Coast and ship it west? And again, it's something that can be done. You put a group of smart people together, and it's something that could be solved. It's something that Trump should have thought of when he was president, because that's a great infrastructure project, because it affects everybody and it saves. If we want to become more of a green nation, and great, this is the way to go about doing it, because now we can let the natural rivers kind of do what they got to do on the West Coast. Just saying. Yeah,
and some people are saying, well, they built Hoover Dam. That was a great idea. Yeah, it was. And another reason they built Hoover Dam, it was terrible flooding. As I understand, the Colorado River used to flood all the way down to Riverside, California. People say, not that, couldn't have gone that far.
Yeah.
But they actually say, at times it actually went that far.
Yeah.
And then they built the dam, but one reason they built the dam was to put people to work.
Yeah.
Right now they don't need to go to work because, Biden has given them an unemployment check, okay? So don't worry about it.
Yeah. Don't worry, we're all good.
Let me ask you this, okay? Switching locations, what about up there, around Washington and Oregon,
Yeah.
and the great rivers up there that flow into the Pacific Ocean?
Like the Klamath River in Oregon, the Klamath River, yeah.
Right. Couldn't they do the very same thing to California?
Yeah, they could. I mean, again, what's holding people back on this idea is that the EPA and the 17 other environmental agencies that we have in this country, they all put a stop to it, like the Sierra Nevada people. I mean, I don't know where they want all these people that they're allowing to cross into this country from Mexico. I don't know where they want all these people to live, because we have a housing shortage in this country right now, and housing, cost to buy a home is skyrocketing, and you can't find homes to purchase, and people there's no affordable housing for these people that are coming in. We need to figure out a system. If we're going to allow all these people to stay, people need water to survive. And if the man-made droughts continue, and I say man-made because politicians and the environmentalists like the Sierra Club, those kind of greenies, they're the eco-terrorists out there, and they're the ones that are holding up this country from moving forward and getting to a newer, more sustainable energy. We're actually shutting down pipelines for fuel, and now we're going to be more reliant on Russia, like we talked about last week. I mean, Russia, really? I mean, we're doing everything to shoot ourselves in the foot here. And if we really want to, take care of the planet, like, the younger generation, I mean, it's a nice planet and all, but, they need to come up with big ideas. And it's been a century since the Hoover Dam pretty much was built, so let's move forward. So maybe this could be the great, generation where they build waterways. So we're actually taking the water that falls out of the sky and saving it, instead of allowing it to go out into the ocean. And if we don't collect it, then we can put it into these desal plants, and we can actually have a vast improvement on our water system. But there's going to be a lot of heat this summer, and in California, they sent the notice out that, look, it's going to be reduced capacity. So it's going to be like when you travel to third world countries and at 10 o'clock at night, the power goes out. It's because that's it. You've used up all the power for the day. And I've traveled to countries like that, and you're like, whoa, wait a minute. But yes, that exists. That's going to happen. The rolling blackouts are going to be back. And this is America. This isn't, San Salvador or, Nicaragua. This is America. And, the one thing that Trump did kind of get on the right, is like, you go to airports around the world, and they're nice, they're big, they're beautiful. And he's right. And here we are just the state of California is a shining example of, the roads that are completely broken down, traffic, smog. I mean, you name it. I mean, you've got an over rampant, homeless problem. You've got, 22, 25 veterans committing suicide a day still. You have so many issues in California. And, when one, thinks of traveling to California, if you're coming from another country, and when you get there, what are you looking at? You're looking at a place that looks like it belongs at Universal Studios, and you're on the earthquake ride or something because it's in such disrepair. These are big issues. Yeah. These are national security issues, by the way, because our enemies are all watching us flounder, and we're not getting anything really, no bang for our buck for our taxes, because the money is just going to politicians, their families who have think tanks who are going to think about building something but never get around to it. And the waste and the fraud that runs rampant back here is unbelievable. But this would be a project, and I chose this. So obviously, California, I'm a native Californian. It's a big idea, but why not try? Why not do something like that and have this be our big moment? We saw COVID. It kicked our butt for a year. We got out of the great hibernation. But one of the good things that we got out of it is we got it together, and we're finally going to solve some of the water issues that this country is facing. I don't know. Just an idea.
Yeah. Talking about heat, it's interesting that it's perfect timing for you to bring all this up, because of the fact that California right now is suffering, that summer heat. You would think, all right, we got to wait officially for July, for it to hit. The hottest place in the United States, all right, Death Valley, the record was 1917, all right, Death Valley, California, was 122 degrees. So I think it was last Thursday.
Yeah.
That they hit 128, broke their record.
Wow.
And then they've actually got one that they said that was recorded in 1913, Greenland Ranch, 134 degrees. I think the guy's little meter there, whatever you call it, he probably didn't shake it up like you do, before you give him the shot. Anyway, 134. Yeah. My goodness.
Yeah, it's hot out there.
And here we are talking about water.
Yeah. Well, but people have to keep in mind that we use water for multiple uses. The hydro plants that they use for electricity. So it's not just that we're giving farmers at the very. Obviously the farmers are paying a very high cost for the water out of the Colorado River, but. The farmers feed the people, and it's just, we have like a little cycle, and it just seems like, the country is divided on everything. The one thing that should be able to unite us would be water. It's a simple thing. Everybody needs it every day, and we use it all in different ways. We like to stay clean, and I like to wash our vegetables. So.
With today's education, right now, if you're probably under 22, they're saying water. We'll just get Coke Zero.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? Now they have 7-Up Zero. Yeah. Apparently you can use that. I thought that's a whole new story right there.
Well, there you go. Maybe that's like could that be the pilot program for the wastewater plants that they want to build? I mean, maybe that's where they're going.
And you know what? And I talk about these people that think like that. Water. No, I don't drink that much water. I drink a lot of the special stuff that comes in the plastic bottle, and it says, zero sugar and all that, But see, they've been indoctrinated. All right, just like if you're on a radio program, you get used to things and you're indoctrinated. You'll say, like, it's time for a break. See?
Pay the bills.
See what happens? All right, we got to pay our water bill, and then we're going to be right back with Kimberly anymore at agrireport.com. And this report really interesting. I was going to bring something up to you that you might want to look into, Kimberly, and maybe you and I might want to talk about it. I saw a report. We were talking about, you're running out of things, you're running out of things, you're running out of things.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a report, and I think it was Tucker Carlson that had it, where Wall Street is some people that are connected with it or whatever.
Yeah.
They're buying up every new home that's being built that they can.
Yep.
And then they're renting it.
Mm-hmm.
Rent only.
Yep.
And it's almost like a conspiracy theory where if you don't already own your home, owning a home is going to be a thing of past because it's going to be run by big companies. They're going to own all of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, buying homes right now are incredibly expensive. I don't know how much money the Wall Streeters have, but certainly what they're looking at, especially with the commercial real estate market, with the great hibernation that we just got out of, they've got a lot of empty buildings and that, so they're trying to rezone and re-regulate that industry so they can build apartments. So now you're going to have a handful of people that own all of those, and then presumably there'll be apartments, so then there'll be landlords. And then if that's the case, then I am ready for the rent is too damn high party to come back into New York and just take that whole movement nationwide. That would be worth the price.
There's a lot of twos. Is that TWO, TOO, or TO? Too damn high.
Yeah, it was so funny.
And then when they own your home, they'll say, you don't need no stinking water.
Yeah.
We'll give you fresh water. You don't need any water, And they'll charge you by the mile from the Colorado River.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
how they solved it, out in the old days, the ranchers?
Yeah.
They had these things called windmills.
Yeah. Yeah, windmills have got things going. I mean, it's simplistic. Again, some of these ideas for solving problems don't have to be rocket science here. Most people, average people, could, even if they got in a room and they were all talking and throwing ideas out, would probably stumble upon something that would work here. And and again, this is something that's for our nation. And if we can't even keep our power grids on in the summer any longer in this country, then our enemies do take notice of that. And it's when we need supplies and products, nothing's made here. And now we're slowly not even farming our own food. We're going to Mexico to get a lot of our food. So it is incredibly important for our country to try to solve some of these problems. I don't know what's happening with the politicians. They don't seem to want to solve any problem. But we have a crisis, absolute crisis at the southern border, and we've got droughts hitting 7 states here in the west, and we've got flooding back here on the east. It seems so simple, and that somebody just needs to roll that idea together and get it out. And the American people will probably be on board with building that kind of a project, because it would help everybody in the country, really.
Well, when it comes to the food shortage, I will quote Ajo Cortez. Says, "Why do farmers have to complain, and why are you so worried? Because we have so many grocery stores. Just get your food there." Okay.
Yeah.
We got it. Yeah. All righty. Hey, Kimberly, we're all out of time. I certainly appreciate this.
All right.
We're going to do it again next week. Kimberly Dvorak, D-V-O-R-A-K, and go to the KD Report, thekdreport.com, and check out this later if you want to look at it and study it. Give us a grade on it or whatever. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Look forward to next week.
Thank you.